Welcome to Progressive Retail. I'm your host, Cory Mosley. As always, thanks for tuning in. Today, we're continuing part 2 of my 3-part series on health, wellness, goals, and peak performance in the new year. Today, my guest is Delatorro McNeal. He's a longtime friend of mine, and he's electrifying. I can't wait to get started on this interview. Let's get right to it. Joining me today is Delatorro McNeal. He is a peak performance expert and CEO of Platinum Performance Global, and also a good friend of mine. Del, thanks for joining the show.
A tremendous honor, Cory, man. Great to have you, man.
Man, you are just out there kicking butts and taking names, and it's such a pleasure for you to take the time to be on the show today, because we're talking about something that is super, super important in the marketplace, especially to automotive professionals, which is, which makes up our viewers, people in parts, service, sales department, people interacting with customers every day. And in addition to being a peak performance expert, you're an expert in presentation skills and helping people develop those. I've seen you on stage. I've been to your events. This is just for you. I'm doing it one time for you. Get my matrix on real quick. That's right. So I wanted to have you on today to talk to people. Obviously, I speak and present as well, but I wanted someone really honed in on the craft, because I learned so much from you also, to talk to our viewers today about presentation skills, the importance of them, and really some of the things that you find, some of the mistakes that people make with their presentation skills that cost them thousands and thousands of dollars. So let's just jump right in and hit me with some of those nuggets of information.
Well, fantastic, man. It's a wonderful honor to be on this incredible show with you, Cory. And listen, let's just jump right in. First of all, I firmly believe when we open our mouths, we tell the world who we are. And I firmly believe that it's crucial now more than ever before that we go back to the basics of building business, because whether we're in parts, whether we're in service, whether we're in sales, no matter where we're at, marketing, branding, no matter where we are in this process of acquiring customers and going through the transaction process and retaining customers and getting our customers to go and be raving fans for our businesses. No matter where we are in that continuum, at the end of the day, Cory, we must remember people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Nothing grows your know, like, and trust factor faster than your ability to be an effective communicator. Most times when I talk to business professionals from any industry, they confuse the industry, Cory, with the skill set. When I say, listen, do you need to develop your public speaking and presentation skills? They say back to me, well, I don't want to become a full-time speaker. I don't want to be Les Brown. That's not what I asked you. I asked you, do you want to develop your public speaking and presentation skills? Because the truth is, leadership is a skill. Negotiation is a skill. Time management is a skill. Productivity is a skill. And presentation is a skill. It's a skill you need in business to communicate 10 times more profound. And the more profound you communicate, the more profitable you'll be.
So true. So on point. Now, the question I got to ask you, though, because talking to you is always like going to church for a minute, but the question I need to ask you is, what role does ego play in a person's, there's no shortage of ego in the automotive industry. It's high alpha male, high alpha female. What role does ego play in a person's inability to, A, want to improve, and B, take an honest look at themselves to even determine that they need presentation skills training or they need to seek this out?
It's an incredible question. It's funny because you're in the automotive industry. I'm in the speaking industry. So in the speaking industry, I deal with egos all the time. Not only do I deal with it from my peers and my colleagues, but I also deal with it in terms of the people that I speak, coach, and mentor, and I train, because I train aspiring speakers, authors, and coaches. And so one of the things that I've learned is that at the end of the day, if we really want to grow our ability to make more money, influence our customers, influence the general public, and transform people to work with our brands, no matter what our brands are, we must get us out of the way. And we must learn to become what I like to call the triple L, lifelong learners. We must get out of the way, right? Because ego is just a matter of us being, again, people can't even get to us because of our brands and our facades that we put. But here's one of the things that I tell my aspiring speakers. I said, listen, the more you take yourself off the pedestal, that people automatically put you on, and the more you become relatable, and the more you become touchable, and the more you become human rather than superhuman, the more people want to do business with you. That trust factor develops when people realize that you're a human being just like them. You got hurts and pains just like them. You got a family just like them. You got crazy kids just like them, right? And at the end of the day, I think the more powerfully we can take some of the layers off, get rid of some of the polish. That's one of the biggest things I do for professionals, because I don't just train speakers and authors. I actually work with C-suite executives all around the world, and I help them to take the polish and the veneer and the glaze, if you will, Cory, off of who they are and how they present themselves. Because we all know when you're dealing with somebody who's shady or shiesty, or you're dealing with somebody who's got a lot of veneer on it, you can't even, it's like there's a glare. It's like you can't even see them for all of the gymnastics that they're trying they're trying to portray. And that's more effective. So what's 10 times more effective is when you take the Superman, Superwoman cape off and just be a human being. At the end of the day, we're human beings. We're not human doings. So our accomplishments matter, but who we are as human beings matters 10 times more. So I firmly encourage everyone to listen. As soon as you adopt the mindset that you're a lifelong learner and you don't know what you don't know and you don't know who you don't know, you embrace the fact that, I love something that Albert Einstein said, and I live by this every day. He said, you can live life as if nothing is a miracle, or you can live life as if everything is a miracle. And when you come from that place, you come from a place of gratitude, inner G, INNER-G, inner gratitude versus attitude and ego.
So I think, and that's an excellent point as we talk about, some of the holistic spiritual things, mindset. On the technical side, so one of the things that you accomplished last year, which was huge, was you created your own reality show, the #1 show for the speaking profession, called the Keynote. And in it, you had people competing ultimately, and that was nothing but speaking, but they were growing and speaking, growing and speaking. On the technical side of things, when it comes to presenting, as salespeople have to do, present features and benefits, do walk-arounds on vehicles, sell. What do you, on the technical side, where do you see people flounder a lot of times and have the greatest opportunity for growth, I should say?
Okay, I'd say one of the greatest opportunities for growth is to get in the mind of your customer. There is nothing more powerful. My master's degree is in instructional systems design, curriculum design and development. And one of the first things that they teach you in curriculum design is to begin with the end in mind. Think in the mind. When you build curriculum, don't build curriculum from the instructor standpoint, build it from the learner standpoint, right? So I believe if we want to be more effective in our sales presentations, we must come into the conversation in the mind of the customer. What does the customer need? What is the customer looking for? Not what do I want to sell? If I come to the interaction, whether I'm dealing with one person, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, face to face, forehead to forehead, if I'm dealing with one or a family of 6 or 2, husband and wife, or whatever scenario I'm in, because all of it is public speaking. I don't care what it is. If your audience is 1 person or 100,000, it's all public speaking. Every time that waitress comes up and gives you a menu and tells you today's special, that was a speech. That was a public speaking presentation, right? So begin with what they want. So many times we in the sales space push our agenda on the customer, not realizing that it's not coming out of our wallet. It's coming out of their wallet. Then nothing happens till a sale is made. So at the end of the day, we need what's in their wallet. We need our customer to clap with their wallet so that we can get our commissions. In order to do that, you must begin with what the customer wants and what the customer needs and give them the product and the service that's going to best fit their needs, not just our quota, not just what we want to get out of the transaction or the interaction. Stop treating people like robots. Stop treating people like social security numbers. Stop treating people like credit reports. Stop treating people like credit scores. Stop treating people like quotas, and treat them as human beings. And if you meet their needs, they will not only buy a car for them, their husband, their wife, their grandkid, their aunt, their uncle. They'll buy a car for everybody in their church, in their community, right? In their neighborhood. They'll tell people about you. Watch this. I would rather sell 20 cars to one person over 50 years than sell 1 car to one person because I had my own agenda in mind.
Right. Now, speaking, right? Now, getting better as a speaker, right? Presenter, //, right? Involves training to do so. Now,
Yes.
all too often, obviously, I train all over the country, thousands of salespeople, managers, and I always find it interesting, and I want to get your take on this. I find more often, and no matter what city I go to, it's, oh, well, you know what, Cory, I don't do well in these role-playing scenarios in the training room, in the conference room. You know, I need to be with a live customer. So what they want to do is train on the job. And I'm sure you hear these kind of comments when you try to conduct speaker training. You know,
Yes,
do I have to speak in front of, these 5 people? This isn't really my audience or my thing. What do you say when you hear those comments? Because it sounds like BS to me, but
exactly.
What do you think about that kind of stuff?
You just said it, Cory. It sounds like BS. It sounds like a failure in their own belief system. Sounds like BS. Anytime they say, hey, I don't want to do it in front of, I want to do it in front of a live customer. Oh, I don't want to do it in a role play scenario. I don't want to do it in a training environment.
My manager. Oh, I can't do it in front of my manager.
How you practice is how you perform. How you practice is how you perform. And one of the biggest lessons that I teach my speakers, I get chill bumps because you're starting to get to my sweet spot now, bro, is this.
As we're winding down.
Come on, as we're winding down. I say never practice during a performance. Never practice during a performance. And I teach my speakers this. I say, listen, if the first time you gave that speech was when you were in front of a live audience, you were practicing. You weren't performing. You didn't give your best. That was probably like your 3rd level best. That was probably like a silver medal performance. Certainly wasn't a gold medal performance. And my company's called Platinum, which means we take it even higher. So when people tell me that nonsense, I say this. Mark Victor Hansen, a great mentor of mine, told me this many years ago. He said, Delatorro, make big mistakes on small money. In other words, he said, learn big lessons when it doesn't really count. One of the things that I love about getting better in environments like Toastmasters or coming to my events like Crush the Stage or the intimate speaker and presentation development things that I do is because I like to let people get better when it doesn't count, when the dollars are not on the line. Do not practice during a performance, my friend. If you want to get better in sales, better in service, better in presentation, better in public speaking, better in delivering your message, offering your product and service, polish yourself in the green room. Do it behind closed doors so that when you get out there in front of a customer and you get out there in front of the dollars where it really matters and it really counts, you can deliver what I like to call platinum performance. You don't deliver platinum performance if when you're in front of the customer, you're doing it for the first time. Practice doesn't make you perfect, but practice sure makes you a whole lot better.
I know that's right. Well, I can't let you go without talking about peak performance. You're a peak performance expert. I can't let you go without getting some tips. People, obviously, again, you can talk about this forever, right? Let's forget about the people who aren't really willing to commit to anything. But when it comes to peak performance, somebody out the people that have made a commitment to excellence, right?
Yes.
This year, Willie Jolly talks about attitude of excellence. So for people who have made a commitment to excellence, as a peak performance expert, what can you tell those people? What tips or insights can you give them that will help them achieve peak performance this year?
Number 1, realize that your best is your next. Meaning, realize that what you've done up to this point is good, but as Marshall Goldsmith said in his incredible book, what got you here will not get you there. Good is always the enemy to great. Good is always the enemy to great. So you have to jump into this year saying, you know what, there's another level. There's another level to my brand. There's another level to my sales. If you come into a new year and you say, listen, I'm already maxed out, then guess what? You're always looking behind. And guess what? Nobody cares about your high school or college, promo reel, right? It's about what you're doing right now. We're in the age of the expert. We're in the age of the result, the outcome. So number 1, begin with this understanding that there's more in me. My best is my next. Number 2, before you start talking about how much you want to produce, begin with the conversation of what you want to get rid of. Nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about resolutions. Everybody talks about new goals and new productivity and new numbers and what are we going to hit. And nobody's talking about what are we getting rid of. There is no way that you can put more on your plate as a peak performer, as a high achiever, without getting something off of your plate. Because the truth is that nobody wants to admit it's a struggle to juggle it all. Your health is great. Your family's great. All of a sudden, guess what? Your money is down. You get your money up going, and all of a sudden the kids are good, and you picked up 40 pounds somewhere. You finally get rid of the 40 pounds, and you're doing good with your kids, and you haven't been to church in a year. And then you finally start going back to church. It's a struggle to juggle it all.
Right.
So you got to learn how to take stuff off of your plate that doesn't fit. As high achievers, we are constantly taking on more and more and more, and we're not going through the elimination process to get rid of the things that are no longer necessary. Third tip I'll give you is this. Stay around people that will hold you accountable for high levels of peak performance. Because here's the truth. As high achievers, we can fool the general public. We can in our sleep produce more than our average friends. But the truth is, that's not your best. And it takes a high achiever to call a high achiever on their BS. So you want to stay around people who are producing more than you, selling more than you. Cory, you know this. I network, I mastermind, I hang out with people who earn more than me on purpose. Why? Because it gets me sharp. It keeps me polished. It keeps me focused on that next level. So if you're the smartest person in your group, or if you're the wealthiest person in your group, you need to get a new group, because the top dog gets no teaching. The top man or top woman gets no teaching, because you're always pouring what you know down into somebody else. Get around people that make your level of income seem silly. Get around people who make your level of thought process. In other words, I love something a friend of mine, Johnny Wimbrey, says. He said, hang around thinking that outthinks you. Say that again. He said, hang around thinking that outthinks you. In other words, if you're the most brilliant person in your circle, you need to hang around people whose philosophies trump yours. You need to get around some new thoughts and some new ideas and some new concepts. Learn a new language. Take a new dance class. Go on Groupon and do some things you've never done. Push your boundaries. Understand that everything in life is a metaphor. And if you've mastered one thing, what else in your life have you not mastered that you need to say, okay, maybe this year is not so many times we go into a year, Cory, we say, okay, what's the new income goal? Sometimes a new year's goal shouldn't have anything to do with income. Maybe your income's great. Maybe you focus on being more consistent. Maybe this year needs to be the year that you focus on being more forgiving. Because guess what? You could, over a decade, you could increase your income and make more and more money over 10 years and still not have forgiven someone that hurt you 10 years ago.
Right. Man, listen, listen, as you would say, come on, somebody. Listen, you definitely took him to church. I'm definitely going to have you back for part 2 of this. We're out of time right now, but man, so we're going to have to leave it there. But I'm getting ready to hop off the seat. I want to just unplug and run out here and go do something now. I got to tell you, Del, man, thank you for being on the show today. I love it. We're going to have you back for sure.
A tremendous honor indeed, my friend. Thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you, Del. Well, that's our show for today. Again, I want to give a shout out and thank you to Delatorro McNeal for that great information. We will certainly be having him back on future shows. That's our show for today. I'm Cory Mosley, and I encourage you to visit us online at mosleyautomotive.com, where you can find out more information about how we're helping dealers become more progressive and profitable. This has been Progressive Retail exclusively on the CBT Automotive Network. I'll see you next week.